Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Reach out to tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details of this or any Watchbox watch. Today, we are discussing one of the most talked about watches of 2022. This is the Grand Seiko Spring Drive Automatic SLGA009, better known as the White Birch. Its dial pays tribute to the locality of the Shinshu Watch Studio in which the timepiece is made in Nagano Prefecture. So this Japanese-made watch is 40 millimeters in diameter, in stainless steel. In profile, it measures 12.1 millimeters thick. Lug-to-lug, it is 47.5 millimeters, and end-link to end-link, the total distance across the wrist is 51.2 millimeters, with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, that is broad lug spacing for a Grand Seiko watch. It's a little bit more modern than what they've proposed in the past, and you can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist with the end links, it's fairly broad across the wrist. I would consider it suitable for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference, and you get a good sense of how it sits on the wrist. It is actually quite thin, and with a sloped bezel, it'll slide fairly easily underneath the dress cuff. Now you can see the bracelet is nicely made. It's a 3-link design. The outer face is polished. There's a little bit of a transitional bevel on the side. The primary links are satinated. The flanking links are satinated on their tops, and we have a conforming end link to close the gap to the case and create a more integrated look. This is a steel bracelet, so from Grand Seiko, on a steel bracelet, you get removable links fixed by screws. Now you can see that there are half links in there for intermediate sizing, and you have quite a few removable links. Single fold deployment clasp, twin trigger release, so it's not going to pop open by accident. You can see the Grand Seiko logo with satination and polish rolling over to the case. You've heard of Zaratsu tin plate polishing. It is a manual technique that takes about 3 years to master, and Grand Seiko's artisans hold the surfaces to be polished directly against a spinning plate on a Zalitz machine. So that's how they achieve that polish. This is a hand-finished watch. Now you can also see that there's a combination of curves but also angular facets with the polish and the satin. So this is a fairly nuanced case. We have a screw-down crown, Grand Seiko logo outboard, 100 meters water resistant. The bezel has a little conical profile that's polished, and then a flat top that has vertical satin finish, giving way to a dial that has that white birch, nature-inspired, flora-inspired motif. The indices, the hands, the frame for the date, and the logo, all of these components are made on diamond-tipped micrometric milling tools run by artisans who just work on these components all day long. So this is very much a handmade dial. The second hand is counterweighted lancet, stainless, well, it should be described as steel. The watch is stainless steel, but the hand has actually been oxidized from base steel. And that blue tone is achieved by tempering it over a flame and holding it just long enough to achieve this color. That is also done manually. Now, it's a 5-day spring drive automatic, and this is the new spring drive caliber. So the 9R family continues, but this is the 9R A2, and what it offers is 5-day power reserve rather than the previous 3 days, accuracy of 10 seconds a month rather than the previous 15 seconds a month, a case-back power reserve indicator rather than the previous dial-side power reserve, and of course it does have hacking seconds and a quick set date. It also has the characteristically smooth gliding seconds hand that is unique and distinctive of spring drive. So it's a quartz oscillator, but there are no batteries, there are no capacitors, there are no stepper motors in this watch. Instead, what happens is the spring, the main spring, drives a unidirectional governing wheel. That unidirectional governing wheel creates an induced electrical current that wakes up the quartz circuit in the oscillator. And then the oscillator applies a magnetic braking force to the unidirectional governing wheel, and the governing wheel is geared directly to the hands at center. So you wind up with a mechanically driven watch that has quartz precision, and it's really the best of both worlds. This movement is designed to last the life of the watch and outlast the life of the owner, which is significant because we generally don't think of electronics that way, but this truly is a watch and a movement for life, built by a watchmaker, and when the time comes, serviced by a watchmaker. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.